Facebook's situation is worsening. This company is not getting a break and it's getting hammered from left to right. Recently, it had the biggest 1 day loss in value for any US company ever. That's massive. It was nearing a 1 trillion market cap. It was on its way, and now it's below today 600 billion. So from almost to like a 1 trillion, it was getting there, and then it fell below 6 billion. So let's look at some stock charts real quick just to kind of put this in perspective. So if we look at their 1 year chart, who would have thought you would have seen this with Facebook? They are down over 18% over the past 1 year. On top of that, the last 5 days, they are down 30, almost 33%. That's insane for a huge big tech company, and that just goes to show you anything can happen in the market. Now, I also want to share with you that over the last day or two, they have fallen another 6%, and this is because of more just kind of controversial bad news. First off, one of their board of directors has stepped down. Now, this is a billionaire tech investor and PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, and he stepped down and announced it on Monday. He was an early investor in Facebook, but he is also a spoken supporter of Donald Trump. And if we know anything, Trump has been banned from Facebook and a lot of other social media players like Twitter and things like that. And so I think this might actually end up being a good thing for Facebook. And the market might see this as a good thing. We shall see. But still, it's something controversial that's happening. But even bigger news is Facebook is saying that it could potentially shut down its Facebook and Instagram in Europe due to increasing regulations. So Europe, they have regulations and they're working on laws that could potentially prohibit companies from sending Europeans' data across the Atlantic to the US. And this has led Facebook to say we might have to shut down in that area. The thing is, this won't only affect Facebook, it'll affect all social media companies and other companies that transfer data, customer data, out of Europe to America. And so this is a huge piece of news, and it will be very interesting to see where this goes. But if this were to happen, this would be a big cut to Facebook because they have a decent presence in Europe. Of course, they're all over the world, so it would be a portion of that. But this is some interesting news. I think that if you're a company and there are these regulations coming down that's going to restrict your profit, what's the point, right? A company is there to make money, to grow, to earn good profits and revenue. So this does make sense to me that Facebook would do this. It's just some crazy news. So this is going to be something I'm going to be watching closely. I have a feeling they will work out something. I just think that, it would be a huge move for Europe, and I don't know if it'd be a positive one because this is limiting, their citizens and what they can have access to and do, and companies as well. Imagine Amazon not being able to get data back and forth. So this will be interesting. This is something I'm going to keep my eye on. Now, of course, other things with Facebook is that, they have said because of their earnings, missing earnings, the main thing is over the next year, they could lose $10 billion due to Apple's iOS, uh, you know, creating these privacy changes where a lot of people can opt out to be tracked. And what this is key for players like Facebook and other platforms to kind of follow your interests and likes so it can target more, have more targeted marketing for you. And this allows, them to be able to charge more and earn more from marketing companies. And so that's a huge thing, first of all. Um, and so it's going to be hitting, a lot of players, but some more heavily than other. Google is not hitting as much, uh, you know, but Facebook it is. And a lot of people are a little bit distrusting of Facebook. So I think a lot of people have chosen to get out of being tracked. And so we'll see if Facebook can come up with a way to increase that and add value. I think it is good and bad. I like that it kind of shows me similar interests of mine, but it's kind of creepy at the same time. But this is the future, and so I think, of course, there should always be certain limitations, but I think it's just a good thing on the company side be able to do. But they need to be sure to really manage that information securely and carefully. So I get it, and we'll see where this kind of leads. But they're supposed to take a $10 billion hit over the next year. Um, Another thing is TikTok has blown up in popularity. This company has grown massively. I use TikTok now. A lot of my friends use TikTok. It's fun. It's these short videos. People have very, short attention spans, so it's perfect for that. But Facebook has answered, and now on Facebook you can see TikTok videos. You can see Reels. That's Facebook's, um, version of TikTok. And so it is being integrated onto Facebook. So I've been able to click and you can watch videos. So I think they're really trying to take, partnership and take advantage of those shorter videos where people can quickly see a video and be entertained and then be done with it. So though TikTok has grown massively, I think Facebook's making moves for that. Um, of course, with the earnings, Facebook gained 2 million monthly users, but the last quarter it was 15 million. So a huge drop. And their daily active users reduced by 1 million. So these are active users. So to have 2 million versus 15 million active monthly users, to drop from 15 to 2, and then to drop by 1 million in daily count, that is showing, some slowed growth. Um, but I do want to say this. Facebook is very saturated. It has the largest, user base of any social media platform. They can't keep growing at rates that are exponentially, you know, huge quarter over quarter. There's just a point where there's a limit on the population and you can only do so much. So what I want to point out is, Facebook is going into the metaverse. This is controversial. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people see a big future with it. Some people think it's a dud. But Facebook, I see, is a company that's trying to grow and innovate because they could either choose to stay stagnant and just be like, we are where we are, we'll have very slow growth from here on out, or do they do what a good company does and they try to innovate and find different avenues of growth and, uh, value for shareholders. And so that's what I like about Facebook is they're taking a leap of faith, but they're not the only company that has done so in history. Amazon's done similar things, Tesla, and in those times they were put down for it as well, right? So not to say everything's gonna end up the same, but Tesla, when they first started announcing electric vehicles, people were laughing at them and saying this is never gonna take hold. Now look at it, every major car company is going fully or mostly electric within the next 5 years. And so with Facebook, right now, it's the same thing. They're getting hammered by people putting down the metaverse. But let me say this, how many people are using the metaverse now? So many. The Oculus is sold like crazy. People are playing games in the metaverse. They're interacting with the metaverse. Companies are starting to use the metaverse. Microsoft is going in on the metaverse. Most of the large tech companies are going in on the metaverse. Facebook was the first one to announce it, and they're investing heavily in it. I'm bullish on this. I think the metaverse has a big future. I just think with a larger population and it being harder to have concerts that are crowded and maybe go to a store that's crowded, using the metaverse to be able to go shop, in Best Buy, let's say, walk around, pick out things, buy it, and then you can have them shipped to your house. That would be fantastic. And I think that's where things are pivoting. A lot of people don't see it that way, but I do. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish on the metaverse. So I see a company that is making moves, that is working hard, and that's what I do like to see. With the Europe thing, I will keep an eye on that. That's one thing that I want to see that how it rolls out. But everything else, to me, isn't that bad, and it will blow over just like everything else does. Like I said, attention spans are so short. I want to point this out. Let's look at their earnings. Let's look at their actual earnings that they just released. And let me point out some key things. Now, in the first section on the left, that's the 3 months ended December 31st, so the very last quarter of the year. And then you have the full year, all of 2021 on the right. I want you to take note of something. At the End of the year of 2021 on December 31st, you see that very right column, year over year change. Let me point out some key things. That first line is total revenue. Their revenue grew by 37%. That is massive. That is awesome. That's nothing to, be down about. Now, their costs and expenses did go up a lot, but that makes sense. They're innovating, they're trying to, put a lot of money into growth, but their revenue grew more than their expenses did. And it led to an income from operations growth of 43%. Let's go down to net income, the second from the bottom line. It grew 35%. Why I wanted to show you guys this is though, third quarter or fourth quarter versus fourth quarter of last year, so that year over year change in the first, the numbers aren't as big because you're just comparing quarter to quarter. But it's still healthy. I mean, you still look at some of those numbers, it's still very good. Um, there's but the year over year is what I want to focus on. That is something that I think people like to just pay attention to the headlines and they did great revenue, but they did, miss out on earnings per share. Like people just want to nitpick at the negative side without looking at the positive. You have to look at the full picture in order to get a good thesis and be a good stock investor. That's what you need to do. So those numbers are extremely strong. That's why I'm still bullish on Facebook. They're innovating going into the metaverse. They're trying to get out of some possible future stagnation. Their numbers are still growing incredibly, but yet they've lost, hundreds of billions of dollars in market share recently. And yes, they are projected to have some slowdown, and they are investing heavily in the metaverse. So there could be like a few years of some, you know, turbulence, shall we say. But I think long term, a company that has the largest social media user base, they can take advantage of that. They can use that to their advantage. A company that was first to market in the metaverse, that's showing that they're going all in. And I am happy they're doing that because it's either go all in or don't do nothing, right? You don't go do something, half-ass, shall they say. You either go all in or you don't. Um, and so, this might be one of my last videos on Facebook for a little while. I've been doing some videos on it, but I had to bring this to people's attention because a lot of companies, in the history, they have their times like this where they get hammered by the news, the media, shareholders. But that's because people have short-sighted thinking. You have to have long-term thinking. So I think they still have a big future. Of course, if something fundamentally changes where I no longer want to invest in this company and I want to sell out, I will update you guys. But nothing right now has changed my thesis, and I actually bought some shares today, and I will here and there as well to kind of keep lowering my average down. Because to me, this is just Facebook going on a huge, massive sell. You looked at their numbers, right? So yes, there's a chance the metaverse won't do nothing for them and that, they stick in this stagnant kind of growth on the social media side. But I want to point this out too. I see Facebook building huge, tech data centers everywhere, and they built one here just south of Albuquerque. This company is planning for the future. They're investing, and that has shown time over time throughout history that usually pays off big. Amazon was the same way, right? They went through some times where their numbers weren't that great because they're investing so heavily in infrastructure to grow their business. And now look at them. They are growing. The last 10 years have been massive for them. They just released great earnings, but you have to, as a company, take those risks. You have to grow, or else why would you want to invest in a company like that? So that's why I'm investing in Facebook, and I'd like to hear if you are investing in Facebook, why or why not? Why, if you're either staying away from it or if you're getting into it, because I just had to bring up this different side of things because everybody wants to just get on the boat and hammer this company, but I want to kind of keep it real and give you some different kind of information. You'll notice a different background. I kind of did some remodeling to my house. I have new floors, did new paint, so there'll be some different backgrounds in my future videos. Maybe I'll show it in a future video. But I want you guys to have a great day. Please subscribe to my channel. I provide a different opinion, a different view on things, quality information, quality knowledge. I show you my performance in my portfolio. I show it at least once a month. And, I want you guys to, I want to be transparent so you guys, can follow the journey along with me and I not just be all talk. I want to show it as well. And so please subscribe, join this journey with me. I appreciate you guys out there. Have a great day. We'll see you next time on Mark's Finance and Fitness.